Welcome to this episode of ITQonversations. My name is Jeffrey Kusters, I'm the field CTO at ITQ, and today we're going to talk about the cloud operating model. I have a special guest with me today. Martijn, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks for having me. Martijn Baecke, Cloud Management Technologist, currently working for VMware, of course, for the Cloud Management Business Unit.
Cool. So VMworld is all about multi-cloud. If you look at the headline, it's the premier multi-cloud event. That's something different from the virtualization event that it used to be, of course. Mm-hmm. Multi-cloud is obviously a topic that's close to, well, both our hearts. Correct. So, without going into too much of the semantics, what's your take on multi-cloud? What is multi-cloud?
Well, it's basically an evolution, right? We came from virtualization. I think we had a talk beforehand, and I said I've been working for VMware for 10 years, and it gradually moves from virtualization to cloud, and now it becomes multi-cloud, right? Because that's the world of cloud today. And that's why you see VMware evolving, and especially cloud management, which I work for, has been basically focusing on how to solve customers' problems when it comes down to multi-cloud. So yeah, that's the reason why VMware is now focusing a lot on multi-cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. So Martijn, you talk to a lot of customers, I assume, about multi-cloud. Can you name some of the typical challenges that they face when they are on a cloud journey?
Well, especially our customers, right? They come from a virtualization perspective. And we all know virtualization came into the data center. That's basically where it evolved for most customers towards private cloud, right? That's the thing that happened, I think, over the last decade, is that customers were using their virtualization to host their applications. But what then happened at some point is that we want to make this basically a cloud. That's why we focused from a VMware perspective on creating solutions that enabled our customers to move towards a private cloud. But at the same time, what happened was basically that people started to consume public clouds, right? If you got AWS, Azure, Google, they basically came, and I think AWS was one of the first ones, with public cloud. And you now see those two things converging, and that becomes a multi-cloud challenge for customers. And that's also the same thing that we are trying to do from a VMware perspective, is right to evolve also our solutions from virtualization, which is still there with the software-defined data center, then towards building a private cloud or a VMware cloud on top of that with our cloud management stack, and now moving into the multi-cloud challenge and be able to solve those problems. Okay,
and I saw you have a session scheduled at VMworld.
Yep.
It's all about the cloud operating model. Can you give me, the 10,000 feet overview of, what you see as the cloud operating model?
Yeah, the cloud operating model is something that we are trying to provide towards our customers, right? Cloud operating model isn't new, but it's something that we basically are seeing in the industry to solve the challenges I just spoke about, right? We see businesses going through this digital transformation journey. This digital transformation journey means that basically they need to have more applications to be able to run in any specific location. And that's where we go towards multi-cloud, right? That's where a lot of applications get deployed. And for our customers, this means that's either existing applications, which typically reside within the old data center, but now we also see customers adopting public cloud and trying to deploy applications on top of that. Which means that IT is challenged with the problem of how do I manage those multi-cloud solutions from both an application and an infrastructure/cloud perspective. That's where we as VMware are trying to create a cloud operating model for our customers. And that has not only to do with technology, right? It's also people, process, and technology to be able to adapt to what's happening in the business strategy, which then results in the application strategy and then results into the cloud strategy. That ultimately needs a cloud operating model that's capable of doing multi-cloud.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, it's kind of a holistic way of working with cloud, with IT, and with your business.
Well, it's just like it says, right? A new operational model, and for most customers that typically isn't new, because there's also a maturity in that, right? For a lot of customers, the journey started towards cloud by building their own private cloud. And they now have facing the challenge of delivering basically a multi-cloud solution and having that operational model across multiple clouds. That's basically what we're trying to solve. That on the one hand has to do with people and process. Yeah. So that's something typically that customers need to do. And of course, we from a VMware perspective are trying to create the right solutions, the right technology to be able to move towards this multi-cloud solution.
Okay, and I Well, no, I know a lot of customers already have a lot of the tools available to them, but then they're not using them as effectively as they could from a cloud operating model perspective. So just to give our viewers kind of a better understanding, which products and solutions are underpinning the cloud operating model?
Yeah, it's twofold, right? So we, from a VMware perspective, we've got a complete VBLines portfolio, and we've got Cloud Health. And especially the VBLines portfolio, well, at first that was basically the solution from a cloud management perspective that we had as VMware. And that was specifically focused on creating that cloud experience within customers' data centers, right? They basically had the software-defined data center, which we provide from a compute, storage, and networking perspective. Yeah. Well, everybody knows vSphere, vSAN, and NSX creating a software-defined data center. But that does not yet deliver a cloud, right? You need to have a cloud management platform on top of that. And I typically speak to customers then about you want to get a public cloud-like experience within your own data center. That's where VBLines automation, which is really about automating services that can be delivered towards the business, and operations, basically to control the workloads that are being hosted into it. Those are focused around building that VMware cloud. But of course, we've got that evolution taking place where people are starting to consume, or customers are starting to consume, multiple clouds. So they're doing AWS, they're doing Azure, Google, or for example, also one of the 4,500 VCPP providers, the VMware service providers that basically deliver services. The question then becomes, how do you integrate that? And that's where 3 years ago we acquired a company called Cloud Health. And Cloud Health was predominantly focused on public cloud. And what we did is we are now converging the two solutions. We're on the one hand expanding the capabilities of VBLines, that's already in the product for about 2 years, where you can do multi-cloud management. So it's not only focused on VMware technology, but you can also, for example, automate and operate the workloads that you're currently running in AWS, Azure, and Google. And that, combined with the solutions that we provide from a Cloud Health perspective, gives you the ability to really deploy this cloud operating model from a technology perspective, where customers have then got the ability to do multi-cloud management.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm really looking forward to your session to get much more details on this cloud operating model. It's something I talk to customers about, almost on a daily basis. So really exciting to see what your session is all about in more detail. So how are you going to watch VMworld yourself, Martijn?
Of course, I'm going to watch it myself. We've been preparing over the last couple of weeks. And basically, I would recommend everybody that watches this video please register for VMworld and go and see my session. Of course, it's a little bit for myself, but it really goes into the details. If you want to know where the world of IT is moving towards, and you really want to understand how multi-cloud works, please come and see all the sessions that we have provided. Of course, mine is very special, but yeah, it's all about learning about multi-cloud and how you basically can help your customers, your internal customers, to move towards multi-cloud. Yeah, absolutely, super relevant topic. So thank you, Martijn, for joining me on this ITQonversations. Thank you for having me. So you heard Martijn. Please register for VMworld, and also make sure to register for Martijn's session. It's going to be really interesting. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and hopefully we'll see each other at VMworld or on some other occasion. Thanks for watching.